So this is the video I really wish I didn't have to make. However, after releasing my recent videos on Neo and Palantir, I saw comments like this asking, what do you do if you're down 50% on a stock like Neo, for example? And I know a lot of you guys are feeling this pain with some stocks in your portfolio, maybe a lot of stocks in your portfolio. Now let me just make this very clear right off the bat. None of this is financial advice. This is all purely my opinion. I'm going to share with you how I view these things, how I view these situations, what I do in these situations. And I'll also share with you, hypothetically, if I was down 50% on a stock, what are my options? Actually, you know what? Hell with it. Let's keep it real in this video, guys. Let's talk about a stock that I'm actually down pretty big on. So Clover Health, I'm actually down nearly 50% on this stock. So let's use this as my proxy in this video. Far too often, YouTubers just focus on the wins in their portfolio because it adds credibility to their name and it makes them look like incredible investors, and their losers are just kind of, pushed aside, forgotten about, videos deleted sometimes. Because in the end, it's all about growing that subscriber base and getting that YouTube income, right? But the ironic thing is that credibility, in my opinion, is built from actually having situations like this where you're down big on a position and sharing with your subscribers, sharing with your audience what you would do in that situation. And in Clover Health, guys, that's an L for me. So before we get into the meat and potatoes here, if you appreciate this content, guys, if you appreciate this video, consider sharing this with a friend who could use this talk. I'm sure a lot of people out there are just losing their mind on how much money they've lost in the last month or so. So this video could help them out a ton. And while you're down there, hit the like button as well. Helps the channel out tremendously. So the S&P 500 on Friday made a record high close. This means the stock market has never closed in history at this high of a price before. And many stocks out there are pushing new all-time highs. So how is this possible? How are we down 50% on a stock when there's stocks making new all-time highs? Simple. The market right now is focused on value, on blue chip companies, on stable companies, and those businesses are doing really well. While the companies that did extremely well in 2020, your speculative companies, your EV companies, your SPACs, your tech stocks, your growth stocks, those companies are hurting right now. So let me first speak here about Clover Health, and then let's talk about, in general, if you were down on a position massively, what can you do? So here's the thing. With Clover Health, I opened up a position in this stock as a speculative spec position. Now this means three things. The first is I'm not fully convinced, or I don't have the high conviction that I need to put the stock in the core part of my portfolio where I will just keep plowing money in, keep averaging down, keep buying and building it up to a big position. I don't have that conviction in Clover Health, probably because I just haven't done enough research to be convinced in this business long term. Two is I use only money that I'm willing to lose with this investment. Now, of course, I'm human. I don't want to lose a single dollar in the stock market. What are you talking about? Why would I want to go into an investment and lose it all because that's fun to do? No. That's just silly. I'm not here to lose money. But I'm going in with the mindset that, hey, if things go south, if I'm wrong on this, I'm going to lose it all, and I should be okay with that. And in Clover Health's case, I only put in money that I'll be perfectly fine with if it went to zero. And the third thing about my speculative investments is that if I see a good gain on the stock in a short period of time, I am cashing in my profits. I'm taking that money and I'm running, unless there's some other catalyst I see over the long term. But there's no rules in this part of my portfolio. If there's profits, it's up for grabs and I could take that at any point. For those of you that follow my channel, you know I mainly focus on long-term investing, and that is the core of my, foundation of my investment career, really. I have over 95% of my money in long-term investments, where I'm not just going to sell out of stocks when the market dips. I'm actually going to buy in even heavier. But I have around 4 to 5% in speculative investments, and that's kind of like the wild, wild west in my portfolio. I make some money there, lose some money there, but overall, hopefully at the end of the year, it ends up being positive. You gotta keep things interesting, right? Like long-term investing is fun, but the speculative bets gives you that thrill. You see the stock move up high, you make a lot of money. Sometimes you lose a lot of money, but that's just part of the game. So with that being said, Clover Health, guys, makes up less then a quarter of 1% of my portfolio. It makes up around 0.25% of my portfolio. So yes, I'm not really losing sleep on this one. The reason that it's so small is because, like I said, it's a speculative bet. I don't have the conviction I need to actually put a lot of money into this, and I don't want to lose sleep on this stock. If I was wrong, which in this case so far seems like I am, I don't want to have to stress out about this. That's not what investing is about. So now, because I'm down so big, because I'm down nearly 50%, the question enters my mind. Should I just sell this stock and take a loss on it? The answer honestly is actually maybe. Typically I'd say no. Like, why would you ever want to sell a great company at a loss? In this case, I'm not so convinced Clover Health is a great company, so I would consider taking a loss. Now here's the thing, if I can take the money that I get from Clover, even though I've lost half my capital, if I can take whatever's left, put it into another stock and make that money back, that doesn't seem like too bad of an idea, right? So even though I'm down 50%, if I can take whatever's left, throw it into some new stock that I think has much more safety and much more upside than Clover Health at this point, then that kind of can be justified there. Since I'm down around 47% or so in Clover, I would need around 88% upside to make that money back. I know a lot of people think, oh, you're down 50%, so you just got to make 50% back and you'll be back to break even. No, that's not how math works. When you're down 50%, you need to double up your investment to make it back. So now this kind of thinking, this sort of logic doesn't only apply to Clover Health here. This can apply to any stock in your portfolio. Maybe it's Palantir, maybe it's NEO, maybe it's CCIV, maybe it's Butterfly. Who knows, it could be any stock in your portfolio that's down massively right now. Just ask yourself the tough question. How likely is it for this stock to essentially double up if it's down 50% right now? Is that something that can truly happen in a reasonable amount of time? I'm not talking like 20 years out. I'm talking like, in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Can I see the stock recover back to where it was? That's the question you gotta ask yourself. And if the answer is yes, you gotta have reasons as to why, not just because it's been up there before, it's gonna go back. Take a look at stocks like Cisco, for example. It's still not recovered from its .com highs, so that's not really a good reason to still have conviction in the stock. So now in this case for Clover Health, for me, I think that it probably can regain where it was before. I think it probably can recoup its losses over time, which is why I'm like still kind of deciding if I should sell it or not. But like I said, there could be better use for my money right now. Maybe I can throw that money into a better option play maybe, and leverage that and make that money back quicker. And the benefit with that is that I can write off my Clover Health loss on my taxes, and that'll help offset some of my gains on profits that I took. So there's definitely pros and cons to this. Not selling just for the sake of not selling doesn't make sense. If you can find better use for that capital, it almost always makes sense to sell. So this is one strategy, one approach. The other is to do the complete opposite and double down. This would of course lower your cost basis, but this of course would also increase your risk even more because you're putting more dollars into this stock here. So in my case with Clover Health, I'm not going to do that. I'm not putting any more money into the stock. That's because I've put in the maximum dollar amount that I'm comfortable losing. I don't care if it's gonna go down to like $2 per share. I don't care. I'm not adding more into this. I have rules with this stuff and I gotta stick to it. Now let's say you're down massively on some other position, but it's a good company. Let's say Palantir, for example. That thing is, a lot of people believe Palantir will bounce back. Palantir will be a bigger business in the future than it is today. I don't disagree with that. I think Palantir will probably be a much bigger business in the future than it is today. But you just gotta make sure that your mindset is set so that this is a long-term investment. This is why I separate my speculative bets, my short-term trades, from my long-term investments. I can't have them overlap because that just messes things up, and that ends up with massive losses, massive headaches, a lot of stress. Not something we want to deal with. But in this case, say Palantir, if it's a long-term investment, guys, and you're convinced this stock is going to be higher, averaging down makes a lot of sense. Like I said, with my long-term portfolio, I've actually been buying a lot over the last few weeks. I've deployed a ton of cash. I probably haven't deployed that much cash since March 2020 of last year. And trust me, I have high conviction in my core stock. I wish I had that kind of conviction with Clover Health, guys, but I just don't. Now, the third strategy you could do for this is just continue holding. HODL, HODL, like they say. Now this can sometimes be the hardest because you're tempted to sell, because fear's in your mind. You may even be tempted to average down the position. But once you've set your rules, once you understand what kind of stock it is in your portfolio, holding sometimes just makes the most sense. Depending on the company, like Clover Health in my case, I would consider holding it, which is why, guys, I said I'm still on the fence. I may hold this stock and just continue for a longer time, or I may just cut my losses and move it somewhere else. I'll probably make a decision on that sometime next week. We'll see. Those in my VIP group will be the first to know, but I will definitely make a video on the channel if I do sell out of Clover Health. But honestly, guys, I'll say this. If you're down big on any stock in your portfolio, don't quit. Investing isn't easy. 2020 may have made it seem like it's a piece of cake, but 2021 is definitely a reality check. It's forcing a lot of new investors to see what the market's truly like. And if you stick through this, you will definitely come out a better investor. And your portfolio will also thank you for the massive amount of gains that you will realize over the longer term. Do your own due diligence, read investor presentations, listen to conference calls, watch CEO interviews, do whatever you can to understand businesses that you have your money in, and that will help you have conviction, that'll help you have confidence, and that'll help you weather through these periods of uncertainty that we have in the market. Just remember, great companies will always make it through. Regardless of what happens, they come out stronger and make you a lot of money over time. Anyways, guys, hope this video was valuable. Again, share it with a friend if it was. Hit the like button and subscribe if you're brand new here as well. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.